Michael Eric Dyson was going for this tired old line about critical race theory. The well-worn story that we're all super familiar with is critical race theory is simultaneously a lie cooked up by right-wing media to incite a moral panic and a thing that only legal scholars do in college, something that would never, ever be taught in grade school and should be taught in grade school because all it is black history. Let's talk about Bill Maher a bit because I am curious.
Okay.
John McWhorter's sparring partner, Glenn Loury, who is more of a conservative, was invited on to Bill Maher with the wokest motherfucker in the world, right? I mean, how would you describe Michael Eric Dyson?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. That's pretty accurate.
The very, very first Sitch and Adam was Michael Eric Dyson. Michael Eric Dyson and who's the other super wokester?
The lady from the New York Times.
Yeah.
Michelle Goldberg.
Yeah. They're debating Jordan Peterson and that English comedian. Stephen Fry.
I want to say Fry. Yeah.
But Stephen Fry.
Yes.
And Michael Eric Dyson, man, he's the king of what Sitch and I can't stand. He talks a lot and says jack fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that what we need to come up? What is that called?
That's right. That is a bag of hot air.
Yeah.
He's a bloviating bag of hot air.
Yeah. Fucking
nonsense.
That was,
remember, I forgot about this. Ave in the chat. That's when he called him Jordan Peterson a mean, mad white man.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Mean, mad white man. Oh.
And that triggered the shit out of Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson basically called Michael Eric Dyson a racist to his face.
He called him a race hustler. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would you say something like that? Well, he said, why would you bring race into this?
Yep.
And he got super steamed. He was like, let's talk about white privilege for a minute. How much is my white privilege worth?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great. If you guys haven't seen it or you haven't seen our coverage of it, check it. I mean, I don't know where it is actually. Is it on your channel? It's not on this channel.
It's in the playlist. You can, if you want to find some of these ended up getting deleted and re-uploaded. Like some of them are on Adam Friended's secret channel, but some of them are on Sitch's main channel, but they're unlisted, so you can't find them unless you find them in the playlist. But
that's right. There's a playlist in the description. I guess this is the first video on the playlist.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
We did not know if because it's like a 2-hour debate. We were like, we're never going to get through this, but we did.
That was the beginning.
And not only that, I remember because I was like, Sitch, we're staying till they talk to him after the debate because it's pretty obvious that Michael Eric Dyson knows that he stepped in a huge pile of dog shit during the debate. And the people after the debate are talking to him, and he is just like uncomfortable. Yeah, he is super.
He wants to get out of there.
Yeah, he wants to leave. He's like, I don't want to. I fucked up my entire career in this debate. I gotta go. Yeah. Oh God, that was so funny. Yeah. So, but Michael Eric Dyson, it turns out, didn't fuck up his entire career. He's still invited on Bill Maher. He's still like
a race hustler.
He's still a race hustler. He still says all these huge words when you could use a smaller word and say so much more. But
and also the thing that's annoying too is that he's very obviously a socialist leftist.
Yes, yeah.
And he even was in the Monk debate because Jordan Peterson was talking about, he brought up, postmodern neo-Marxism. And then he was all like, oh, he's like, oh, I love Foucault,
I forgot about that.
I just love to say his name, Foucault.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he's a huge, socialist leftist type.
Yeah. So in this discussion, the most interesting part of the discussion for me was Michael Eric Dyson was going for this tired old line about critical race theory. The well-worn story that we're all super familiar with. It is critical race theory is simultaneously a lie cooked up by right-wing media to incite a moral panic and a thing that only legal scholars do in college, something that would never ever be taught in grade school and should be taught in grade school because all it is Black history. Okay?
Yes.
So that's the fucking story. Did I miss anything?
No, that's exactly right. Yeah.
And Bill Maher is just like, looks at him like, well, I mean, the parents do kind of know what's going on. I mean,
right.
He just dispels all of that immediately. Like, you know, the parents do kind of have this thing. I mean, they know about, you know, white privilege, for instance. You know, these ideas are in the school and stuff like that.
So, yeah, because what happens is in the beginning of the conversation, Bill, you know, they talk about like CRT and wokeness gone awry. And Dyson does the thing that they always do. She's like, well, you know, can you provide an example of this? Because he says like, oh, this is all like fake news. And Bill says, well, of course, because he talked about this on a show like a few weeks ago. He's like, yeah, they have segregated classes, segregated graduations. They're teaching kids.
Yes, he's pointing out all the examples. Yeah, privilege walks, all of it.
Privilege walks. They're teaching kids that they're either the oppressed or the oppressor. And then so Dyson immediately changes the subject. Now that he's actually brought forward some examples. And I noticed something. That's when he changed Dyson dishonestly. He changes the subject to say CRT is just teaching about history.
Yep.
Okay. Just about teaching history. He says, oh, this is a legal theory. No one's ever teaching it. And it's actually just about teaching history. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
And here's something I noticed, and people have to start becoming aware of this. Okay. So whenever you complain about CRT in school, they always ask you for an example. Mm-hmm. But whenever they complain about how history and Black history and the history of racism isn't taught appropriately in our school, no one ever asks them for an example.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And they need to start doing it. Yes. It's just like taken as a given. But I'm like, fuck you. That was not my experience. You're going to have to not give me an example. I want you to give me a study to show me that what you're saying is actually fucking true. Because under my experience, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, one of the things that also impressed me, and one of the reasons why I want to talk about it, was the thing that we're always talking about. Glenn Loury totally called out Michael Eric Dyson on, because Michael Eric Dyson started talking about Black history. You know, Americans are afraid to teach Black history. And Glenn Loury was like, first of all, it's American history. Like, Blacks are Americans. Like, regardless of how the story began, they don't have another country that they can go to. They're fucking Americans, okay?
Right.
And we need to get past this stuff and start like coming up with a shared American narrative that isn't Black history and white history. It's American history. And I love that, because that is the project that we should be working on. But there are all these fucking race scripters out there who've stepped in, who are like, you know, we want to place collective guilt on white people. I mean, I saw a tweet today from, what is it, Ida B. Wells or whatever, the 1619.
The Nicole Hannah-Jones, yeah.
Yeah. Who's talking about white people need to come to terms with their collective guilt. I'm like, what? What? Is there anyone out there talking about other people coming to terms with their collective guilt?
No.
Yeah.
Well, and the tweet reply to that was like, fuck you. My aunt, like in the 1900s, my family, my great grandparents were like farming in Europe. Okay. They like, what, why am I responsible for something white people in the country did in the 1800s when my family wasn't even fucking here, let alone, obviously I wasn't alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, fuck you, lady.
It's completely irresponsible to ask people to take responsibility for somebody else's actions simply because they have the same fucking skin color.
It's almost like there's a word for that.
Yeah, it's called racism. That's the word.
Oh, that's right. That's racism. Yeah. Oh my God.
This is why this is completely bad shit. And we need to like be at the ready to avoid it. Yeah, the whole idea behind, you know, P plus P equals R, and Sitch did an amazing video on it. You guys should check out the origin of P plus P equals R. But the whole idea behind that is so that race grifters have an out, that they can be racist indiscriminately, that they don't have to take any responsibility for their racism, which is not, I mean, that's not a good societal norm, right? You have one population of people that can be racist indiscriminately and another population that pretty much just has to deal with it. Isn't that the thing that got us in this situation? Wasn't it like race, like the Southern strategy?
Yeah, separate systems of law and moral. The rules only apply to groups differently. Yeah, that kind of is what got us in this problem in the first place.
We gotta get rid of that. That's like, we need to focus on coming up with a shared American history that all of us can be proud of. Like, I was so triggered when we did the talk with the CRT guys and they were like, there's a thing called Afro-pessimism. And I was like, oh my God. Leave it to academia to take some kind of mental illness and fucking turn it into a way that you can get a degree. It's like, why are you teaching pessimism? Can you imagine Tony Robbins like doing a course on how to be pessimistic? Come on, guys.
Right. Did you notice that? So when Glenn Loury brought up that we have to have a shared American history, Dyson's response to that was super mask off.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because Glenn Loury goes into how we have to have a shared colorblind American history. And then Dyson immediately goes into the whole colorblindness doesn't work CRT spiel. And he totally drops the mask and shows that he knows exactly what CRT is, that it is anti-liberalism and it's anti-colorblind.
Yeah.
And he went on a whole spiel about it. I'm like, oh shit, but no one realizes it, of course, unless you already have the prior knowledge that he just totally went mask off there.
Yeah.
And so that's what's gross too, is that because for a lot of the commentators, they honestly, on the news anyway, on the mainstream news, they have no clue what CRT is. Dyson does know what CRT is, and he's being incredibly dishonest about it when he talks about it.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember it now, but I didn't remember it before you brought it up, was the Foucault thing. Like, he was so proud of the fact that he had read Foucault and all this.
That he teaches Foucault to his students.
I know. I know. If someone's teaching Foucault, you know they know this critical race theory stuff. Right. Definitely.
And then there's an interesting part after that too, where they're talking about like whether the police are racist against black people. And Bill says, you can't say that we haven't made any progress, that racism by people or by the police is anything like it was in the 1960s. And so Michael Eric Dyson's response to that is, what about George Floyd, Bill?
Yeah.
What about Derek Chauvin? And Bill says, first of all, he says that was only one person.
Yeah, it's for all intents and purposes an anecdote.
Which is true, but here's something that's big that Bill and the others just immediately give away. There was zero fucking evidence ever presented by anyone.
True. You're right.
That Chauvin was acting with any sort of racial
animus.
With any racial animus. Yes. That was never even part of the trial whatsoever.
Yep.
They never said they didn't charge him with violating civil rights. They didn't have any evidence that he was acting out of racism whatsoever.
Yeah. And there's nothing to say that he wouldn't have acted the same way if the defendant was white. Was white and just as big, just posed as big a threat. Yeah.
Right. Zero evidence. And yet it's just taken as a given that this was some kind of racist thing.
It's a religion. That's the way you got to look at it.
But then it's hilarious because let's trace the conversation. Bill Maher says racism in the policing isn't as bad as it was in the 60s. Dyson responds by giving a single event, Floyd.
Yeah.
Bill Maher responds by saying that's only a single event. Then Dyson pivots away and says the opposite of what he just said. He says, well, racism, and he says this, this is why CRT is important. CRT teaches you, after saying CRT is not being taught and doesn't matter, he says, this is why CRT is important. CRT teaches you that racism is a system. It's not individual actors. So mind you, he just gave his example of an individual actor. And then when Bill Maher countered that, he completely 180'd and said, racism is just a system. It's everywhere. It's not individual people, blah, blah. And he gives the whole systemic racism bullshit spiel.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't actually say anything. Doesn't say anything. He just says it's a system. Racism is a system.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me most about the racism is a system thing is not necessarily that it's logically incoherent, because I can imagine there being systems that produce racist results where there is no real racist intent. Sure, right. I can imagine that. What bothers me is that they pivot from racial intent to racial system just as needed. It's like, whoa, wait a second here.
And then they pivot
which
back.
model? Yeah, which model are we? Like, we're jumping around here back and forth between the models, and it's like sometimes, if you want to dabble a little racial intent in there because it'll get you clicks on your article, then it is intentional. Like, sometimes it's not intentional, sometimes it's just systematic.
But that's exactly it. And that's why it's so dishonest.
Yeah.
They'll bring up some specific person as racist, and then when they get counter on it, then they'll switch to the systems. Oh, it's this, amorphous blob of a system. You can't fight it. You can't blame a single person. But then they'll immediately switch back. Oh, Kyle Rittenhouse is a racist. He's proof that we live in a white supremacist society.
Yeah.
They just switch back and forth. The second you attack them on it, they go into defensive mode, and they go into the amorphous blob of systemic racism, and then they attack again by attacking an individual or something.
Yeah,
it's so dishonest.
Well, I thought it was an interesting exchange. You said you didn't think it was as spicy as needed, but
I mean, Loury was being nice. I wish he would have been like
harder,
because when you see, because I mean,
Dyson.
Loury goes like full fire and brimstone sometimes.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
I wanted like fucking fireworks to brew.
The Bill Maher bringing up the CRT stuff, I thought was good because they're living under a delusion. I shared another clip that was some CNN commentator, which actually like doled out some red pills on CNN, where she was talking about how like they're taking away the entire wrong messages from the recent gubernatorial elections.
Party,
yeah, that's basically what she's saying. Right. That it's like this super high mind elitist thing that just, it's an emperor has no clothes situation where people are like, you're telling us we don't understand what it is, but it's obvious they do understand what it is, and it's pretty incendiary. So I did like the fact that Bill Maher challenged Michael Eric Dyson on that stuff, because Bill Maher is like one of the few people that we have that has the potential for piercing the impenetrable progressive bubble. Some progressives might actually listen to Bill Maher and think, oh, they're talking about the white privilege stuff. Oh, that's CRT. It's like, yeah, dumbass. That's what they're mad about.
Right. Well, I guess part of why I wasn't super happy with the conversation is that for us and people who are like in the know, you'll watch it and you'll say, oh, Dyson's being like a piece of shit. He's being very dishonest with CRT talk. But if you don't know, it's not obvious because it's not really pointed out by anyone, specifically pointed out.
And that's the problem with a show like Politically Incorrect. It's an hour long. I mean, I think the talk is like 10 minutes. They can't dive in too deeply on this CRT conversation. And I haven't really seen a dialogue on TV where anybody who doesn't know anything would walk away and say, oh, I understand the situation. The only reason we know is because we're internet people. We've dived in and listened to like 1,000 hours of James Lindsay.
Well, I mean, and it's true. Like, in order to have that conversation I want, it'd have to literally be like Glenn Loury and Michael Eric Dyson debate where they talk for at least an hour, but hopefully, longer, you would hope. Like an actual debate conversation about
start making some headway on what is actually going on.
There are two other things he's mentioned that I wanted to bring up. The first was this was crazy. So Michael Eric Dyson said that Derek Chauvin getting convicted was evidence that the system is corrupt and racist. Okay.
What?
And you're like, wait a minute, how does he say that? And he said, because Chauvin had so many people testify against him, so many other police officers and the police chief testify against him, the fact that it took that many people to get Chauvin a guilty verdict is proof that the system is corrupt. Listen to how fucked what he just, like the logic there. The fact that Chauvin had so many people testify against him
that's
is the
ridiculous.
only reason Chauvin got convicted, and thus proving that the system is broken.
Yeah. The fact that it's completely the opposite. The fact that so many people were willing to testify against him shows that we've moved a long way on race. The fact that there's just not one lone guy who's like, racism, we must defeat it. And everyone's like, shut up.
Well, he's basically presupposing guilt in all cases, basically is what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's saying, oh, well, if Chauvin didn't have all these people testifying, and what you said is great. Because he's like, oh, if Chauvin didn't have all these people testify against him, he might have not got, the guilty verdict. Like, well, that's true. But the fact that he had all these people testify against him, that does say something about society, doesn't it?
Yeah, it says they're done with this racist crap. They're ready to fucking move on. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, and I uploaded the supercut of us talking about Jonathan Haidt and Jonathan Haidt and Jordan Peterson discussing. What were they discussing? Moral foundations theory, something like that. It's not important anyway because it's not really what I want to bring up. I pulled up in that talk an interview from Jonathan Haidt from 2012, and Jordan Peterson was in the interview, so that was what was interesting because Jordan Peterson and Jonathan Haidt go way back. But I listened to the whole interview, and there was an interesting thing that I bookmarked in the interview because when I heard it, it was one of those things like, wow, like just the whole idea of where we are on race was so different in 2012 that Jonathan Haidt.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
Actually said, now that Obama has been elected, the left wants to move on from race. And the next big issue is going to be climate change. And we're going to move past race. Race is no longer going to be an issue for us going forward.
Yep.
That was basically, I'm paraphrasing here, obviously, but that was intonation, context of what he was saying.
Haidt, poor, naive. Haidt.
I know. That's why when I said, I'm like, my God, how I'd like to go back to 2012 when we all thought, oh, yeah.
Well, he's right. Like for when Obama was first elected, 2008, there were, it seemed like he was right. It seemed like we were moving beyond all the race obsession stuff.
Yeah. Oh, God. If there were meetings between all of these CRT people that, are popping up and being interviewed on MSNBC and stuff like that. God, I would love to know what they were talking about in 2012 when Obama, or 2008 when Obama got elected.
I know.
They were probably like, this is terrible. Our whole America is a racist, is a given. It's in question now.
Yep.
Their whole worldview is collapsing.
I know. And then the last thing that Dice said that I wanted to bring up was he said, this is fucking crazy. He said, January 6th proves that the bad behavior of white people is not penalized because they didn't get shot by the police.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
go ahead.
What? Someone did get shot by the police.
That, yes. Yes.
Actually, Babbitt did get shot, did get killed. Okay.
Right.
First of all,
no prosecution. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, there's been like all sorts of prosecution.
Yeah.
After the January 6th people, seemingly way more than any of the prosecution against the Black Lives Matter riot people.
Yeah. So the FBI is chasing the January 6th people to the ends of the earth and incarcerating their asses, throwing them all in jail for, everything, just for trespassing. The Black Lives Matter protesters got bailed out by Kamala Harris.
Well, to be fair, she advocated for people to donate to the bail fund that was bailing out.
No.
She didn't bail them out personally.
Kamala Harris went down personally. No.
Okay.
I don't want to spread. I don't want to be the
Yes.
next Anna Kasparian here. No fake news.
It's not good. It's not good,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad.
So there was a fund set up to bail the protesters out of jail.
Well,
and they got bailed out.
It was the people that wanted to just want to indiscriminately give bail to everyone because they're psychopaths.
Mm-hmm.
They're anti anyone being in jail for anything.
Yeah.
Yes. But no, but what he was saying was crazy. Because I'm like, wait a minute, how many people did the police kill out of all the Black Lives Matter riots? Did the police kill anyone in any of those?
I don't know. It would have been.
I don't even remember it being talked about at all.
Yeah.
And yet he's saying that January 6th proves that white people are treated differently by the police or can get away with anything. It was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe he said that. And I wish that someone had pushed back on that. Like, well, are you fucking out of your mind? What the fuck are you talking about? Someone did die, and they're going after those people like really hard legally. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dyson.
Yeah, Bill Maher was like, oh, we got one of those. The thing about it is, here's the context that you guys will find completely interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So in the middle of the segment, Bill Maher cuts away to the joke. Okay, we haven't had a joke in a while. It's a comedy show. I know Bill Maher's a comedy show.
Comedy show.
Right. So they cut away to the joke insert. Now, do you remember the joke insert? Do you remember the joke insert?
Is hilarious.
The joke insert is hilarious, but why? Why is it hilarious, Sitch?
It's so dark.
Explain the joke insert and tell us why it's hilarious.
So, what was the name? What was the name of the company that he was mocking?
I don't know, but it's commemorative coins. It's the collector's coins.
Yeah, they have these
monumental mint or something. I don't know what it is.
You guys have probably seen those commercials that are like, celebrate America's whatever holiday with commemorative coins, and they'll have Thanksgiving coins, and it's like a picture of like the Pilgrims, landing whenever, and then it's like on a gold coin. It's like, give your child this golden coin to commemorate your American
commemorative coin for you and your family.
Right. So Bill Maher had that, but it was for the January.
It's for January 6th. Yes. They're literally making fun of how January 6th was not that big a deal because of these hilarious commemorative coins.
Well, no, that wasn't his point. His point was, which is a fair point, was that at first people were saying, oh, it wasn't Trump people that broke into the Capitol. It was secret Antifa people that did it. And then he's saying that right now, I hadn't heard this, but he's saying that that Marjorie Taylor Greene and some other people had thrown that narrative away, and we're now saying that the January 6 people were heroes. For breaking in.
Listen.
And so that's why the commemorative coins
you're missing the big picture here.
Okay.
That joke does not work with September 11th coins. It doesn't work.
No, I understand that.
Yes. You can't make that joke with September 11th. But Michael Eric Dyson sees January 6th as September 11th.
Right.
So right after this commemorative coin thing plays, which Bill Maher is obviously in the know about January 6th, not being the worst political thing to happen since the Civil War, which everyone else is saying. Like, if that narrative is true, can you make that the joke that Bill Maher made? I don't think you can. No,
that's a good point.
I don't think you can. But
from the construction of comedy, it has to be sort of like
it has to be flippant. Yes. He didn't talk about the George Floyd commemorative coin, did he? Did he?
No,
he didn't talk about the Jacob Blake commemorative coin because it's not fucking funny.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
But
I don't know. I think the Jacob Blake coin would
listen. Bill Maher is going to be apologizing. He's going to be off the air within 24 hours.
Blake, George Floyd commemorative coin.
He's not talking to the police officer escorting him to his car when he's a juror in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Okay, that joke is not going to fly on comedy on HBO. Okay, come on.
Right.
You know this. This is the whole reason I'm bringing this up, is that in order to make the January 6th commemorative coin jokes, these people who work at HBO have to know that it's not the worst thing that happened since the Civil War. They have to know we can make jokes about this.
Right. No, that's a good point.
But Michael Eric Dyson immediately after they've just made fun of January 6th comes back and starts talking about how January 6th was the end of the world and totally proved that America's the most racist place in the world and white people can do everything.
True.
And,
True. Yeah, you're right.
Michael Eric Dyson is not in on the joke.
Right.
But you could see, and this is another reason why I thought this was interesting, wanted to talk about it, because as soon as Michael Eric Dyson mentions January 6th, you could see there's like a little look on Bill Maher's face, like, we just did a fucking joke about this. Did he not just see? He literally laughed about the commemorative coins. How could he laugh about the commemorative coins if he honestly thinks that this was like the end of our
democracy?
The coup. The commemorative coins even called like the commemorative coup coins or something.
Yeah.
It's like, please.
No, that's a great point.
Please. Yeah. So I thought that was super fascinating. Yeah.
I'm
glad you brought up January 6th because I totally forgot about this.
I forgot about the coins too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's that little look. Look for that little look. If you watch it again, look for the little look. Bill Maher is kind of like, he has this little like what? He's going to bring up January 6th right after we played that?
And it's interesting too, like, it's kind of weird that, Bill Maher has that, because the first coin is the Ashley Babbitt coin.
Yes.
I don't have any problem with.
I thought the Ashley Babbitt coin was a little distasteful. I did.
Nah, fuck her.
Ashley,
no problem with that.
Oh, well, okay. From the perspective of the right, I thought it was just a little bit. It's a little bit too far. People do believe Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt fucking died. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
She got shot in the face.
You know who else died? Anthony Huber.
Yeah.
Fuck them. I don't give a fuck.
Listen, you want to make. I don't know who. I would. People. Yeah.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. All right. It's very simple.
It is. I mean, we should mention, okay, the connection that Sitch is making between Huber and.
You have two people in a riot
doing something they shouldn't fucking
horribly
do.
Dumb, dangerous shit.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I'm not sympathetic.
Yeah.
I'm not sympathetic to either of these people.
Right.
But no, because I was about to say, the interesting thing to me is that he can get away with having the Ashley Babbitt, because he could, he could get away.
This
with
is
the
why
other
I brought it up.
He had, the guy who stole the podium coin. He had the shaman coin.
Yeah.
He had a piece of the shit that was supposed to be the actual shit that was pooped on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Yes.
Which is funny. But the first thing is the Ashley Babbitt coin, which I was surprised that they went with that, because I thought that would be too edgy for them.
If Michael Eric Dyson was correct, they wouldn't have had the Ashley Babbitt coin.
So, but what's interesting to me is that they can get away with that, where they couldn't get, like, if they did the Kyle Rittenhouse commemorative coin.
No.
And it was the victim. If it was supposed to be like the left's coin, so it's like the victims of the Kyle Rittenhouse massacre, and it had the Rosenbaum coin and the children he molested coin and the Anthony Huber coin and like the holding the knife that he held to his family members coin. Like Bill Maher would be canceled
instantly.
HBO
instantly canceled. Yes.
So.
This is why it's an interesting discussion. Go ahead. I keep interrupting.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's interesting that he can get away with doing the Ashley Babbitt one, just because it's like the left. But he couldn't get away with doing the Anthony Huber Rosenbaum coins.
It is. And this is what's interesting, kind of the way Bill Maher inhabits this political atmosphere, is that he can get away with making fun of January 6th, where someone else, like if Greg Gutfeld did that bit on his show. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be.
Could you imagine Greg Gutfeld doing the Kyle Rittenhouse
commemorative coins? No. I'm talking about the January 6th. Like if Greg Gutfeld did the January 6th,
his audience would be mad at him for doing that. Why would he do that?
Oh, I guess you're right. He would. Yeah. I guess they're catering to the. January 6th is. I mean, there's a conflicting narrative here.
It would have to be. That's why I was using Kyle right now. So it'd have to be like whatever, some kind of inverted situation.
Yeah, you're right.
Some politically inverted situation.
Yeah, so Gutfeld would be canceled instantly. If not, his house burned down by the time he got home.
Yeah, you're right. Shit. I kind of want someone to do that. Listen, you know who needs to do that? There's only someone I don't really like. Scott Adams? There's only, no.
Scott Adams is like friends with Greg Gutfeld, so that's why.
There's someone who needs to do it. I don't really like them, but they have the balls to do this. Okay. Steven Crowder needs to have the Kyle.
Oh my God. No, don't. Don't. Would that win you over to Steven Crowder if he did the Kyle Rittenhouse commemorative coins? He would totally do it.
I would be very on board with. I would think that's hilarious.
Steven Crowder, I just don't find funny at all.
He's not, but that would be funny.
Actually, the one thing that Steven Crowder does that I do find funny is the when he plays the leftist and debates people. Oh, I can't remember the name of the guy. It's like Tyler Durden or it's a play off of Tyler Durden.
Yeah.
Now
you're talking about,
That is really funny. I think it's really funny when he does the hippie guy. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.